There are moments in life when everything you thought was stable suddenly collapses beneath your feet. When the people you trusted drift away, when the dreams you held close crumble silently, and when the world continues moving as if your pain doesn't matter. I've lived through that. I've walked through the kind of darkness that doesn't make noise, the kind of sadness that doesn't cry for attention, the kind of suffering that hides behind a normal face. Before the accident, before heartbreak carved deep wounds into my life, before depression wrapped itself around my thoughts, I never understood how quietly a soul can break. From the outside, people think you're strong because you keep going. They think you're fine because you show up. They think you're okay because you don't fall apart in front of them. But the truth is, the strongest people are often the ones fighting battles no one knows about. And depression isn't always a dramatic collapse. Sometimes it's waking up and feeling nothing. Sometimes it's sitting in silence because every thought is too heavy to hold. Sometimes it's wanting to be alone, not because you enjoy solitude, but because you're tired of pretending. After the breakup, the first great heartbreak of my life, I felt like the world had taken the ground from under me. I tried to act strong, tried to convince myself that time would fix it, that I would get over it. But every night, hope slipped a little further away. Friends tried to lift me up, but their words felt distant, like voices echoing through a tunnel. You don't need hype when you're broken. You need momentum, not big leaps, just tiny steps. Steps so small people would laugh if they knew, like getting out of bed, taking a shower, walking outside for 5 minutes. But in the middle of depression, these small victories are mountains. And every bit of progress, no matter how small, becomes a lifeline. During this time, I began to notice something about the world. So many people are stuck in routines that drain the life out of them. They wake up, go through motions, smile for photographs, laugh at conversations, and yet inside they feel empty. Success doesn't protect anyone from sadness. Wealth doesn't shield you from mental battles. Even the strongest, most admired people bleed in silence. I learned this truth the hard way. There were days when responsibilities surrounded me like walls closing in. Days when I felt trapped inside my own head. Days when I wanted everything to stop just so I could breathe. But instead of collapsing, I kept going. Not because I was strong, but because something inside refused to give up completely. And sometimes that tiny refusal, that last spark, is enough to save you. The turning point came on a mountain. Mount Kilimanjaro was supposed to be just a challenge, but it became a mirror, a reflection of every fear I ran from, every emotion I suppressed, every truth I avoided. I was sick, weak, dehydrated, and exhausted. The altitude crushed my lungs, my legs trembled, my mind screamed for rest. But life has a strange way of pushing you exactly where you don't want to go, so it can show you who you really are. Step by step, breath by breath, pain taught me something I had forgotten. I am still alive. And as long as I am alive, the story is not over. When I reached the summit, standing above the clouds, something inside me broke, but not in a painful way. It was a release. A letting go of old beliefs, old fears, old versions of myself that no longer belonged to me. I realized I wasn't climbing the mountain, I was climbing out of my darkness. And on that peak, I finally understood life doesn't change until you do. When I returned home, I changed everything. I walked away from what drained me. I let go of beliefs that kept me small. I ended the cycles that were killing my spirit. I rewrote my life from the inside out. And in doing so, I discovered a truth most people never realize. Pain is not the end. It is the beginning of transformation. Maybe you're standing at your own mountain right now, a mountain built from heartbreak, financial stress, loneliness, depression, regret, fear, or uncertainty. Maybe life feels heavy. Maybe you feel stuck in a chapter that refuses to end. But if you're listening to this, then you're still fighting. And that means hope is still alive inside you. Your pain is not a punishment. Your sadness is not weakness. Your struggle is not failure. These are the fires that shape you, refine you, strengthen you. There is a version of you waiting on the other side of this chapter, stronger, wiser, kinder, and more powerful than you can imagine. You just have to take the next small step, not the biggest step, not the perfect step, just the next one. Because healing doesn't happen in one moment. It happens in thousands of tiny choices. Choices to keep breathing, keep moving, keep believing that your life is still worth fighting for. You survived everything that tried to break you. And now you're becoming someone even pain could not destroy.